Hey everybody, so my name is Michael and today I'll be talking to you about resolution format and how to approach a resolution as a delegate. So as many of you may be new, a resolution is kind of this piece of document that helps solve the issue that delegates may be experiencing. And for this instance, it's the topic of human cloning and what the United Nations Educational, Scientific, and Cultural Organization will be doing in order to combat human cloning as an issue. So to begin with, you may notice that the headline of it is Working Paper 1.1. So in its current state, this is not a resolution. It's in fact a working paper, but working papers eventually will develop into a resolution. And I have written my working paper in the format of a resolution to help simplify things. So to begin with, as you can see, there is a sponsors list, a signatory list, and a preambulatory clauses. So to begin with, sponsors are kind of the authors of the document. So they're the ones that put in a majority of the effort into writing the resolution or the working paper as it currently is. And signatories are countries that are interested in seeing the advancement of the resolution itself. So signatories are countries that like what they see in the delegates' proposals, and they simply want to hear debate continue on this particular resolution or working paper, as I've said. Sorry, so the working paper and the resolution is kind of intrinsically linked, so they're both very similar to each other. So next on our list is the topic. And the topic is kind of what the issue is dealing with. So generally, in a committee session, there will be two topics. And in this particular case, it's topic B, human cloning. And as we scroll down further, we see kind of the beginning couple phrases are italicized, and these are what we call preambulatory clauses. So they kind of state the issues that the committee wants to resolve, and it kind of highlights the previous international efforts and the issues that are currently going on. So we see with the preambulatory clause 1, it's alarmed by the development of human cloning research around the world. So kind of this unregulation of human cloning itself. And it also reaffirms kind of previous actions done with regards to this issue as seen as this clause. And to look at preambulatory clauses, there are specific key phrases that each one of them have. And we'll look at one of them, which is a website I've pulled that is an excellent resource. And so here are the list of preambulatory phrases that are used in Model UN. So all of these are kind of required to start a preambulatory clause. And we see all of these are kind of like present or in the past tense. And all of these help trigger the preambulatory phrases. So preambulatory clauses really are kind of unnecessary, and they're usually just full of BS, and you don't really need to place a lot of emphasis on preambulatory clauses. So my advice is to write the body of the resolution or the working paper and then go back to the preambulatory clauses later. So if you'll notice, at the end of every single preambulatory clause is kind of a comma, and there is no exception to this rule. So every preambulatory clause has to be initiated with italicized preambulatory phrases as we've discussed, and it has to be ended by a comma. And so this is how you deal with most preambulatory clauses, and this goes all the way till the last one. Oops, sorry, there's been a couple mistakes. These should be commas. And after you finish preambulatory clauses, should be triggered by operative clauses. So operative clauses are numbered and they're also underlined. And usually they're in the present tense and they're gerunds. So I'll be pulling up a couple operative clause phrases as we've done before. So scrolling down further, as it said, operative clauses are like actions taken to complete a solution. So in our particular case, human cloning. And these are some of the sample operative clauses. So as you notice, they all kind of end in an S. And oh, actually, sorry, my mistake. They're actually not gerunds. Gerunds are generally preambulatory clauses. So these are all it's all like kind of affirmative action. So it has like action trigger phrases, and those are like the operative phrases. So scrolling down further, another key issue to note is the fact that every operative clauses end with a semicolon except for the last clause. So the last clause ends as a period, so that throughout the preambulatory clauses into the operative clauses is like this huge run-on sentence. And then we end the entire operative clause with a period. So we see the numbering. So these are operative clauses, and the numbering helps kind of distinguish what clause you're talking about, which is very helpful during committee. And so operative clauses can be short one-liners, so such as these, or they could be really long operative clauses full of sub-operative clauses. So I like to draw attention to operative clause 7. So what this one is talking about is how to collect money. And as you probably know, collecting money is very difficult to achieve through just one kind of short phrase. So we divide it up into operative clauses A, B, I, and subclauses, and so on. So all of these are kind of like details as to how you're going to accomplish a set operative clause. So for operative clause 7, it's the implementation of a monetary system. So to help fund other operative clauses, which will be directed towards how to solve human cloning as an issue. So, well, not really an issue, just to how to regulate human cloning in general. So these are kind of the subclauses, as you can see, and it's fairly long. And I think there are other longer clauses that I have in this resolution. So operative clause 10 is another long clause. So you don't really need to be too familiar with how to write a long operative clause. Right now, it should be just familiarizing yourself with what an operative clause is and what it hopes to accomplish. So scrolling all the way to the end, you see the period on the last operative clause. And a common operative clause to conclude a resolution is to, hang on, let me write it. Decides to remain actively seized in the matter. So this is a common phrase you'll see in resolution, in many people's resolution. And I think the resolution, this operative clause is fine, but it's a little too generic, so you'll see a lot of delegates using it. And I guess it's fine to use. And so something else with, in particular, notating. So it's very important to be familiar with how to number operative clauses, and when you merge with other delegates, it can sometimes get really confusing as to how the numbering will work. So in a later, more advanced topic, we'll be discussing what approaches, what advices we will have in dealing with these kind of issues. And I hope I've given you kind of an overview of what a resolution is and how to write one. So to recap, the resolution always begins with what number it is. So for this one, for the very first resolution, it's 1.1. And the sponsors are the kind of the authors of the resolutions. They're the ones that are actively writing it and playing a huge majority part in the resolution itself. However, that's not to say that a delegate that's not a sponsor can't contribute to the resolution itself. It's just that the chair usually recognizes sponsors as the main authors of the resolution. And signatories are just countries that are interested in the resolution. They may not necessarily support the resolution, but they're interested in seeing it on the floor continue to be debated and hopefully into voting procedure. So preambulatory clauses are the ones that kind of state the issues and the previous actions. And as we've said, operative clauses are the clauses that help assert what action will be taken to the issue at hand. And thank you, everybody. So my name is Michael. And if you have any questions, feel free to shoot me an email. So my email is mguo15@choate.edu. And feel free to send an email to all of the junior associates and the senior associates and even the officers themselves. So thank you, everybody. And I hope you guys have learned a lot. Thank you.